The New York Football Giants are 5-1. Unbelievable. This team, I don't know. They find ways to win. Like when this was a team for years that found ways to lose. Like the turnaround is insane. And the Ravens were in control of this game. The Ravens were the better team for a large stretch of this game, but the Giants stayed in it the whole way. The Ravens couldn't quite put them away. And the Giants were down by 10 points in the fourth quarter. Um, like they were down. Not out, but they were down and they fought back. Like the Giants, there's been just great responses. You know, when the Ravens score or the opposition team score, the Giants usually have a, they there's a moxie to them. They are resilient and it's been amazing. Really, the big play in this game is, fourth quarter, about 3 minutes left, and after there was an illegal formation on the Ravens, and that didn't happen. The Ravens are at a first down. Like, you start getting into a position where the Giants are going to have to start calling timeouts. Like, it would have been close to maybe done. It becomes a 3rd and 6, and Lamar Jackson mishandles the snap. He's in shotgun, mishandles it. I don't think it was a bad snap. I don't quite know what happened there. I don't think it was necessarily miscommunication. He's able to pick it up, but then he forces it, and Julian Love intercepts it and has a really nice return and sets the Giants up. That was like the play that changed everything. Because as much as the Giants were like on the comeback trail, the Ravens offensively were really in control of this game. Like, I think if you're a Raven fan, I think a lot of points were left on the board. Like, a lot of points were left on the board. The Giants, I think there was definitely more efficiency from the Giants standpoint when like the Giants like needed to kind of get touchdowns. I mean, they did settle for 3 once, but the Giants really like were able to kind of take advantage of their opportunities more so than the Ravens. Mark Andrews was really, really good. He was wide open in zone all day long. I thought Lamar Jackson up until that point had a really good game. Kenyon Drake, was running all over the Giants, but they were able to win this football game. I just can't say enough. And like Saquon, as we've seen, like he gets better in the second half. And this was a tough, I think statistically, not an amazing game for Saquon Barkley by any means, but is able to kind of just grind it out. Daniel Jones, like, wasn't one of Daniel Jones's better games either, but as it goes on, he gets better. There's a clutch factor to this team. There's a confidence to the New York Giants. And I never would have thought that they'd be 5-1. Now, look, you look back on things now, and like the Packers lost to the Jets this week. Like that Packer win, maybe it's not as much as we had thought at the time. I don't want to take anything away from it, and that was a great comeback too. But you look back at the schedule, and you know what? Like, it hasn't been the most difficult one, but this Raven win, that's a big win. Like the Baltimore Ravens, they are a good football team. They're 3-3. Now, if they won this game, they're 4-2. But the Ravens are like a good team, no doubt about it. Like playoff caliber. Now, will they get there? Maybe not. But like I think they should. Pretty well coached, and have a good quarterback. And like I said, Andrews. Their defense is not quite what it used to be, but it's not horrible. Wink Martindale's got to be feeling pretty good. Wink, gets it done. Kayvon Thibodeau gets his first sack of the NFL. It's a strip sack that basically locked up the Giants' win. So after the Giants got a touchdown to take the lead, second down, Thibodeau gets in there and Lamar loses it. And Leonard Williams recovers it. Leonard Williams returned for this game, so the Giants getting a little bit more healthy. But really, and the rookie class was a big reason for the win. That's huge. That's just gigantic for the future. I think about some of the good Giant teams that we've seen in recent memory, and the rookie class like that year like was making an impact. And so let's think about it for a second. Thibodeau, like I said, with that really impactful play to kind of, like I said, like clinch the win. Then Evan Neal has been getting a lot better. Like the sign of a good offensive lineman, like you're not really seeing much about him. You're not. Like Evan Neal is getting it done slowly but surely. There's going to be growing pains. There's going to be struggles. But Neal at game 6 is a lot better than he was in game 1. So that's that. Wan'Dale Robinson returns from injury. This was basically his first action, if you remember. He was out in that Titan game pretty quickly. And Wandale gets a touchdown. There was some big third down conversions. And then Daniel Bellinger, he gets a big touchdown as well. And Daniel Bellinger, he's just solid. Not the most athletic, but sure hands, makes the plays, does what he has to, which is a lot better than like the Evan Ingram years that we saw. So you got to be happy as a Giant fan. Again, to be 5-1 is crazy. The NFC East is really good. That's the unfortunate side of this is the Eagles are 6-0 and looking really, really good. I have to say, hate to say it, but the Giants are in second place right now. They're 5-1. The Cowboys are 4-2, and then Washington's 2-4. But a lot of divisional play still to come. So the NFC East positioning. The Giants will have a say in that in all likelihood. And that brings me to the next two games before the bye. At the Jaguars and at the Seahawks. And look, both of those teams have been pretty good. Maybe not record-wise. Jacksonville 2-4. Seahawks 3-3. But, like, those are not going to be easy games. There will be easier games on the schedule later on. Like, coming out of the bye, you got the Lions at home. You got the Texans at home. Those I view as slightly easier than at Jacksonville and at Seattle. So for me, I'm looking for a split. I mean, you definitely don't want to lose both. You lose both, then you're in danger of having things kind of, fall apart. Maybe. Although you would have the bye to kind of clean it up. But for me, like, and I say this now, watch, in the moment I'll think differently because these are winnable games. But yeah, give me a split. You go 6-2 into that bye, and that's a good place to be. Really good place to be. And I do find it funny that Jacksonville is a 3-point favorite. I don't quite understand that. I understand that the Giants, are probably not seen as a great 5-1 team, and I get it. But still, Jacksonville, I would expect that spread, that line to kind of go into the Giants' favor by kickoff. I wouldn't expect it to go above 3, but you never know. And even the Ravens were like a pretty heavy road favorite. So I think the Giants are, there's a little bit of disrespect going on there and, whatever. The Giants doesn't faze them. They've been great. And this seemed like a pretty fun one. When it looked like, and if you lost, it wouldn't have been the end of the world. Look, the Ravens are a good team. Like if it happened, it is what it is. But Brian Daboll and company just get it done again. Looking at some stats, the Ravens, 406 total yards to the Giants, 238. But interestingly enough, time of possession was in the Giants' favor, which that's pretty impressive because I thought the Ravens had a lot of sort of long, meticulous drives, with a lot of runs and like time being shoot off the clock. But the Giants did have a, better time of possession. The Ravens took a lot of penalties. The Ravens were sloppy. 10 penalties taken. Only 3 for the Giants, but they outrushed the Giants 211-83. Like that's the thing. The Giants' bread and butter has been running the football, and they weren't really able to do that, and still won the game. Like they're just finding ways to win. So let's talk about the game. Let's talk about it. So, Ravens get the ball first, have a decent drive, but it ends up in a situation where Lamar basically runs himself out of field goal range. Jihad Ward with some pressure there, but Lamar, they were looking to at least get a field goal. It doesn't happen, and so they punt. Then the Giants don't get a whole lot going. Richie James does make a catch, and so does Marcus Johnson. But, things stall. There was a false start on Richie James, and the Giants punt. And now the Ravens have the ball, and Demarcus Robinson makes a 15-yard catch. Lamar Jackson runs for 15 yards. I felt like third down defense was going to be more of a problem than it was. It wasn't great, but, it did what it had to. Oliver with a 12-yard catch, a really nice catch, actually, for Oliver on the Ravens. And then the Ravens kind of stall out a bit, and it leads to a 56-yard field goal attempt for Justin Tucker, who actually misses. Justin Tucker, 56 isn't easy, but it goes off the left upright, and so it remains scoreless. So I feel like, again, the Giants are kind of like lucky to be tied. And then the Giants go 3 and out. They had good field position. They go 3 and out as we head into the second quarter. Then the Ravens get it going. It's an 89-yard drive, 8 plays, and Kenyon Drake really being the catalyst. Mark Andrews was involved early, but Drake with a third down conversion on an 8-yard catch, he was left wide open. And then apparently the Giants only had 10 men on the field, and Kenyon Drake runs for an easy 30-yard touchdown. That's unacceptable. but hopefully that gets corrected. Ravens take a 7-0 lead, but then the Giants, I like the response. They get a touchdown as well. So the Giants were struggling offensively, but they're able to get it done as well. Gary Brightwell, 47-yard return. So that was great. Giants get good field position off the hop. And then Darius Slayton with an 18-yard reception on a 3rd and 14 was huge. Matt Breida takes a hit and makes a catch to get the Giants down to the 24 of the Ravens. And then a 3rd and 12 conversion, Wan'Dale Robinson with a 15-yard catch. And then on a 3rd and 4 at the 5, it is Jones to Robinson, his first career NFL touchdown. And the Giants tied up at 7 right there. Unfortunately, the Ravens would get a field goal as Kenyon Drake with a 30-yard run, Mark Andrews with an 18-yard catch, and so Justin Tucker gets a 34-yard field goal. And the Giants do get the ball back. Both teams would punt. There's not a whole lot to talk about there. Both teams kind of had maybe chances. The Giants more so. Didn't get, Giants 2-minute offense for me is still a bit of a concern, but it's okay. And the Giants technically fumble, in a desperation play. Statistically, it's a turnover, but, the Giants were trying to maybe make a Hail Mary thing happen, didn't work. So we come out of the half, Giants get the ball first, and it's still a bit of the same. The Giants offense doesn't really get going, and the Ravens do a bit, as Mark Andrews really gets going on this drive specifically, but the Giants are able to hold strong, as it's a 4th and goal at the 5, and Tucker hits a 23-yard field goal. So good job of the Giants to kind of do what they had to. Then the Giants, down by 3, we're still in the 3rd quarter. They move the ball a bit. Richie James getting involved, Daniel Bellinger. The Ravens took some dumb penalties in this game when I think about it. In sportsmanlike conducts and just, unnecessary roughness and really just stupid shit. Maybe not unnecessary roughness, but a late hit out of bounds later on. But Saquon is starting to churn at this point. But the Giants, they also settle for 3. 34-yard field goal for Gano. And then the Ravens, it looked like the Ravens kind of maybe put this game out of reach as, really looking good in doing so. And it ends up in Mark Andrews, the 12-yard touchdown. Andrews could not be stopped. And that was disappointing because, he's the guy you need to stop. And so the Ravens take a 20-10 lead, but the Giants, go into beast mode. And keep in mind, we're in the 4th quarter at this point. There's 13 minutes left. And on a 3rd and 4, Marcus Johnson, 18-yard catch. These are little things. Where at the time it's it's probably over. Johnson with the catch. Then on a 2nd and 12, Wan'Dale Robinson with a 17-yard reception. David Sills gets a catch for a first down. And eventually this ends up and I think on this drive, Saquon, I think, had gotten hurt briefly, but this drive ends up in Daniel Bellinger with an 8-yard touchdown catch from Daniel Jones. And now it's 20-17 with 6 minutes left. And the Ravens, it's looking pretty good. They get a first down. And then it's, like I said, it was that 3rd and 1, illegal formation, 3rd and 6. Jackson can't handle the snap, tries to make something happen, and Julian Love with a really nice interception, and then goes 27 yards to the 13 of Baltimore. So the Giants are down by 3. And, there's 2:50 left. You start thinking about the clock. But for me, I just wanted the Giants to score. Sometimes I do, you want to milk it. But the Ravens had all their timeouts. And the Giants eventually do score. There was really a big play was a 3rd and 3 at the 6 where they called pass interference on Marcus Peters, which, it could have gone either way. What I forgot to mention is on the Mark Andrews touchdown, clearly it was delay of game. Clearly, as I'm watching it in real time, I'm thinking, where is the whistle? It doesn't happen. So look, things go both ways. Ravens were fortunate in that instance to maybe hear the Giants. I didn't think it was a terrible call. And so the Giants are first and goal at the 1, and Saquon Barkley punches it in, gives the Giants a 24-20 lead, but this game's not over at all at this point. At this point, there's 1:45 left. Ravens have all 3 timeouts down 4, and on the first play is always key. Lamar Jackson, incomplete pass. And on the second down is when the Giants get it done. Kayvon Thibodeau, sack, fumble, and recovered by Leonard Williams. And so the Giants have the ball up 4. Keep in mind, the Ravens do still have 3 timeouts. But so Saquon goes for 5, timeout at 1:24. Saquon goes for 6. Right, and then that's what happens, right? That's what it is. Saquon on 2nd and 5 at the 8. Very savvy move where you probably win either way, but we saw in the Browns-Jets early in the season where Saquon has the ability where he gets the first and very smartly. This is where this team is coached so well. He goes down, and that's it. Game's over. It is done. Whereas maybe if he scores a touchdown, then the Ravens could theoretically, get a quick score, get an onside kick. It would have been unlikely, but you never know. And so really smart by Saquon, and the Giants are able to win it 24-20. Just a very exciting, very exhilarating victory for the New York Giants. So now they're 5-1. And the schedule isn't overly difficult, but like I said, the NFL, the parity is strong, and so, look, at Jacksonville, at Seattle, those will not be easy games. Those have been two legitimately competitive teams for teams that I think were probably looked at as two of the probably bottom feeders of the league. Maybe that will eventually be the case when the season is all said and done, but at this point, what I've seen in the first 6 games for both of those teams, that they've been pretty good. And that this won't be easy, and I'd expect close football, because that's what the Giants do anyway. Really doesn't matter who they play. The Giants are going to play a pretty close game. And maybe even win it, because that's just what they've done. So they're 5-1. It's been amazing. I never would have expected this, and credit to Joe Shane and Brian Daboll, because they have really just turned things around. And it's fun being a Giant fan. It's fun again, and that's all you can ask for. So Giants beat the Ravens 24-20, improved to 5-1, and now they will head to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars.